After 45 years of marriage, I've learned that true love isn't about grand gestures or expensive gifts. It's hidden in the quiet moments, in the small actions that often go unnoticed. Today, I want to share with you the 12 things I've observed that men do only for the woman they truly, deeply love. These aren't the romantic gestures you see in movies. They're the real, heartfelt actions that speak louder than any "I love you" ever could. Whether you're in a long-term relationship or still searching for that special someone, understanding these signs can transform how you see love. If you find these insights valuable, please share your city in the comments below. Your experiences matter, and together we can build a community of wisdom. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to receive more relationship insights from decades of experience. Now, let's explore the first and most telling sign of true love: how he prioritizes your health and well-being. 1. He prioritizes your health and well-being. When a man truly loves you, your health becomes his priority, and I've seen this truth unfold countless times over my years of marriage counseling. Let me share a touching story about James and Sarah, married for 50 years. Every morning, without fail, James checks if Sarah has taken her heart medication. It's not just about remembering the pills, it's about how he does it, with gentle care and unwavering attention. But it goes beyond physical health. A man who genuinely loves you notices the small changes in your well-being. He sees when you're more tired than usual or when your smile doesn't quite reach your eyes. He doesn't just ask, "How are you?" and move on. Instead, he pays attention to your answer and takes action. In my experience, these actions might look like encouraging you to keep your doctor's appointments, making sure you're eating well, especially during stressful times, noticing when you need rest before you even mention it, creating a peaceful environment when you're overwhelmed. The key difference? It's not about control or obligation. It's about genuine concern that comes from a place of deep love. He doesn't just want you to live long, he wants you to live well. Here's a practical tip. Pay attention to his response when you're unwell. Does he merely say, "Feel better," or does he actively work to make sure you're comfortable and cared for? True love shows in these moments of vulnerability. As we age, this aspect of love becomes even more crucial. It's not just about romantic gestures anymore. It's about having someone who makes your well-being their priority, someone who stands beside you through every health challenge and celebration. Let's move on to our second sign, which is equally important in long-lasting relationships: how he creates a sense of safety and security. 2. He creates safety and security. You know what I've noticed after decades of observing successful marriages? When a man truly loves a woman, he creates a fortress of security around her, not just financially, but emotionally too. Let me tell you about Robert and Mary, whose story perfectly illustrates this point. Robert isn't wealthy by society's standards, but throughout their 40-year marriage, he's always ensured Mary feels secure. It's not about grand financial gestures. Instead, it's about the consistent way he plans for their future together. Every month, without fail, he sits down with Mary to review their retirement plans, making adjustments as needed to ensure they're both protected. But true security goes far beyond money. I've watched how Robert creates emotional safety for Mary. When she's worried about something, he doesn't dismiss her concerns. Instead, he listens and works with her to find solutions. When their daughter was going through a difficult divorce, Robert made sure Mary had the emotional support she needed while helping their daughter navigate her challenges. Here's what I want you to understand. A man who truly loves you will make you feel safe in every sense of the word. You'll see it in the way he handles household repairs before you even notice they're needed. You'll feel it in how he makes sure you're comfortable walking to the car at night, or how he keeps emergency numbers programmed in both your phones. What's particularly touching is how this security builds over time. It's in the small moments, like when he insists on keeping a spare key with a trusted neighbor, or how he remembers to check the smoke detectors regularly. These aren't random acts, they're expressions of deep love and commitment to your well-being. For those of you wondering what to look for, watch how he responds to your concerns about the future. Does he engage in serious discussions about retirement? Does he show interest in understanding your health insurance options? These aren't the most romantic topics, but they're crucial signs of a man who's truly invested in your long-term security. Speaking of investment, let's talk about another profound way men show their love, through the art of genuine listening. This next sign might surprise you with its simplicity, yet profound impact. 3. He listens with full attention. Let me share something that took me years to fully understand. There's a world of difference between hearing and truly listening, and when a man deeply loves a woman, he masters this art in a way that's both beautiful and profound. I remember watching my dear friends Tom and Eleanor during our weekly coffee gatherings. When Eleanor speaks, Tom's entire world seems to pause. He doesn't just nod absently or scroll through his phone. His eyes stay focused on her, and his responses show he's absorbing every word. What's remarkable isn't just that he listens, it's how he remembers the small details weeks or even months later. Just last month, Eleanor casually mentioned wanting to try a new book from her favorite childhood author. 3 weeks later, on a regular Tuesday, Tom surprised her with not just that book, but also a collection of similar stories he'd tracked down. It wasn't her birthday or their anniversary. He simply remembered something that mattered to her. This kind of listening goes deeper than most people realize. When a man truly loves you, he doesn't just hear your words. He listens to the emotions behind them. He notices when your voice carries worry, even if you're talking about something seemingly casual. He picks up on your excitement, even when you're trying to downplay it. What's particularly touching about this level of attention is how it evolves over time. In our golden years, this quality becomes even more precious. It's not just about remembering dates or facts anymore. It's about understanding the unspoken languages of love we've developed over decades together. Here's what I've learned to look for. Does he remember the name of your friend's grandchild you mentioned last week? Does he notice when you're telling a story about something that deeply matters to you? These aren't just signs of a good memory. They're indicators of a heart that's truly invested in your world. The most beautiful part? This kind of listening creates a foundation of understanding that grows stronger with each passing year. It's not about grand romantic gestures, it's about the quiet dignity of being truly heard and understood. And speaking of understanding, this brings us to our next sign, one that shows how true love manifests in the consistent daily actions that often go unnoticed. 4. He shows consistent daily care. You know what really touches my heart after all these years? It's not the big Valentine's Day gestures or anniversary celebrations. It's the quiet consistency of daily care that tells the real story of love. Let me share something that opened my eyes to this truth. In our senior community center, there's a couple I've observed for years, David and Martha. Every morning, without fail, David makes Martha her cup of tea. Now, this isn't just any cup of tea. He makes it exactly how she likes it. Steep time perfect, temperature just right, with a little cookie on the side that helps with her morning medication. What moves me isn't the act itself, but how he's maintained this ritual for over 30 years, even on days when his arthritis makes it difficult to hold the kettle. This kind of consistent care shows up in countless small ways. It's in how he automatically reaches for her hand when they walk on uneven ground, not because she needs the help, but because it's become as natural as breathing. It's in how he turns the heat up slightly in the evening before she mentions feeling chilly, because he's learned her patterns over their years together. True love, I've discovered, lives in these daily rhythms. It's not about the grand gestures that make others say, "Wow." Instead, it's about the reliable, steady actions that make you feel cherished day after day. These aren't things he does for show. They're actions that come from a place of deep understanding and genuine care. What's particularly beautiful about this kind of love is how it grows more meaningful with time. The longer you're together, the more these small acts of care become woven into the fabric of your relationship. They become your love language, spoken not in words, but in consistent, thoughtful actions. I often tell my friends to look for this consistency in their relationships. Does he remember how you like your coffee? Not just sometimes, but every time? Does he instinctively know when you need your reading glasses without you asking? These aren't just habits. They're expressions of a love that's grown deep roots. And you know what makes this even more special? As we age, these consistent acts of care become not just touching, but essential. They're the foundation of a partnership that stands strong through all of life's changes. This brings us to our next sign, which shows how true love balances care with independence. 5. He respects your independence. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. In my years of observing truly loving relationships, I've noticed that the strongest bonds aren't built on dependency, they're built on respect for each other's independence. This is especially true as we enter our golden years. I think of my neighbors, Frank and Betty, who've been married for 52 years. Frank absolutely adores Betty, but what makes their love extraordinary isn't how much he dotes on her. It's how he supports her independence. When Betty decided to take up watercolor painting at 70, Frank didn't just encourage her, he converted their spare room into a studio space. But here's the beautiful part, he never intrudes when she's painting. He understands that this is her space, her time, her passion. True love, you see, doesn't clip your wings. It gives you the confidence to fly. A man who genuinely loves you will support your interests, even if they're different from his own. He doesn't need to be involved in everything you do. Instead, he takes joy in seeing you pursue your own passions and grow as an individual. This respect for independence shows up in the smallest ways. It's in how he encourages you to maintain your friendships, to have your weekly lunch dates with your girlfriends. It's in how he never makes you feel guilty for wanting time alone to read, garden, or simply sit in peaceful silence. What I find particularly touching is how this kind of respect deepens with age. As we get older, maintaining our sense of self becomes even more important. A loving partner understands this. He knows that supporting your independence isn't a threat to your relationship. It's what makes it stronger. I've learned that real love finds that delicate balance between being there for you and giving you space to be yourself. It's not about controlling or supervising. It's about supporting and celebrating your autonomy while standing ready to help when needed. This brings us to something equally important, how a man who truly loves you values your wisdom and experience. Let me share what I've learned about this next sign. 6. He values your opinion. There's something powerful that happens when a man truly loves a woman. He sees her wisdom as a gift, not a challenge. After counseling couples for over 3 decades, I've noticed this trait consistently in lasting, loving relationships. Let me share a moment I witnessed between Harold and Ruth last month. They were making a significant decision about moving to a smaller home. Now Harold had always handled their major financial decisions, but what struck me was how he turned to Ruth and said, "Honey, you've always had better instincts about these things. What does your heart tell you about this place?" It wasn't just what he said, it was how he said it. There was no patronizing tone, no dismissive gesture. He genuinely valued her intuition, her experience, her wisdom. And you know what? Ruth's concerns about the steep driveway ended up being crucial to their decision to keep looking. This kind of respect goes beyond just asking for opinions. When a man truly loves you, he actively seeks your perspective. He knows that your years of experience have given you insights that are invaluable, whether it's choosing a new doctor, deciding when to visit the grandchildren, or planning for the future. Your thoughts carry real weight in his decision-making process. What touches me most is seeing how this mutual respect grows deeper with time. It's not just about making decisions together, it's about acknowledging that both partners bring wisdom to the table. A man who loves you doesn't just hear your opinions, he treasures them as essential pieces of your shared life journey. I've noticed that in the strongest relationships, couples have learned to blend their wisdom. They understand that each person's perspective adds value to their shared decisions. It's like a beautiful dance where both partners lead at different times, each knowing when to step forward and when to follow. This brings us to another beautiful aspect of true love, the way it's expressed through gentle, age-appropriate affection. Let me show you what I mean. 7. He maintains gentle affection. You know what often gets overlooked when we talk about love in our golden years? The beautiful way affection evolves and deepens with time. It's not about passionate displays anymore, it's about something far more tender and meaningful. I remember watching George and Helen at our community center's weekly dance. George can't twirl Helen around the floor like he used to. His knees won't allow it. But the way he holds her hand, gently and securely, while they sway together to the music speaks volumes. It's in his eyes when he looks at her, in the soft smile that appears every time she laughs. That's what lasting love looks like. True affection at our age isn't about grand romantic gestures. It's in the gentle touch of his hand on your shoulder as he passes by. It's how he still reaches for your hand during your morning walk, not because either of you needs the support, but because that connection is as natural as breathing. These aren't dramatic displays of passion. They're quiet expressions of a love that's grown more profound with each passing year. What moves me most is seeing how these gentle expressions of affection become more precious with time. A man who truly loves you finds ways to show his tenderness that respect both your dignity and the changes that come with aging. Maybe he can't lift you in his arms anymore, but he lifts your spirit with his tender gestures and thoughtful touches. I've noticed that real love finds new ways to express itself as we age. It might be in how he adjusts your collar before you head out, or the way he still opens the car door for you, not because you need help, but because he wants to show he cherishes you. These aren't just habits, they're love letters written in actions rather than words. The beauty of this kind of affection is its consistency. It doesn't depend on mood or circumstance. It's steady, reliable, and deeply comforting. It tells you, without words, that you're still the one who makes his heart warm, even after all these years. This brings us to another important way men show their deep love, through the pride they take in their partner. Let me share what I've learned about this special sign. 8. He shows pride in you. There is something particularly touching about the way a man's eyes light up when he's truly proud of the woman he loves. It's not just about bragging rights, it's about a deeper kind of appreciation that grows more beautiful with time. Let me share what I witnessed at our last community gathering. Charles was sitting with a group of friends when Margaret, his wife of 47 years, started playing the piano, something she'd taken up just 5 years ago. The way Charles straightened up in his chair, the pride radiating from his smile, told a story more powerful than words. "That's my Margaret," he said softly, his voice full of admiration. "She decided to learn at 70, and now, look at her." You see, when a man truly loves you, he takes genuine joy in your accomplishments, no matter how big or small. It's not just about the major milestones, it's about celebrating the everyday victories too. Whether you've mastered a new recipe, finished a challenging crossword puzzle, or helped a grandchild with their homework, he notices and takes pride in your abilities. What's particularly special is how this pride shows itself in public settings. A man who deeply loves you will find natural ways to highlight your strengths to others, not in a showy or boastful way, but through sincere appreciation. He might mention how well you handled a difficult family situation, or share with friends how your wisdom helped solve a problem. But it goes beyond just words. It's in the way he listens attentively when you're speaking in a group, how he makes sure others hear your stories and value your input. He creates space for your voice to be heard because he knows the worth of what you have to say. This kind of pride doesn't diminish with age. If anything, it grows stronger. He's proud not just of what you do, but of who you are. He sees the strength it took to navigate life's challenges, the grace with which you've handled changes, and the wisdom you've gained along the way. Speaking of the future, this brings us to another crucial sign of true love: how a man includes you in his plans for the years ahead. Let me explain what I mean. 9. He includes you in future plans. There's something deeply meaningful about the way a man who truly loves you weaves you into his vision of the future. At our age, future planning takes on a different meaning. It's not about decades ahead anymore, but about making the most of our precious time together. I'll never forget what William said during our coffee group last week. While discussing retirement community options, he turned to Patricia and said, "Darling, we need to find a place with a garden. I know how much joy your roses bring you." That simple statement carried so much weight. It showed he wasn't just planning for himself, but for their shared happiness. You see, true love isn't just about living in the present. It's about how he naturally includes you in every tomorrow he imagines. When he talks about future plans, he uses we instead of I. Whether he's discussing next month's doctor appointments or next year's travel plans, you're always part of the picture he paints. What really touches my heart is how this kind of planning becomes more intimate as we age. It's not just about the big decisions anymore. It's about the small ways he considers your future comfort and happiness. Maybe he's researching the best hearing aids because he noticed you struggling during family gatherings, or he's thinking about how to modify the bathroom to make it safer for both of you. A man who truly loves you will have honest conversations about aging together. He'll discuss things like advanced directives and healthcare choices, not because they're pleasant topics, but because he wants to ensure you're both prepared and protected. These discussions come from a place of deep love and concern for your well-being. But it's not all serious planning. Sometimes it's as simple as talking about which movies you'll watch together next week or planning the next family dinner. These smaller plans are just as important. They're threads weaving the tapestry of your shared life. This brings us to another crucial aspect of true love: how he protects your dignity in every situation. Let me share what I've learned about this vital sign. 10. He protects your dignity. Let me share something that's become increasingly clear to me over the years. There's nothing more telling about a man's love than how he protects his partner's dignity, especially as we navigate the challenges of aging together. I witnessed something beautiful at our community center's holiday dinner last month. Margaret, usually so graceful, had a moment where her hands trembled too much to cut her meat. Before anyone could notice, Edward smoothly switched their plates, giving her his already cut portion while engaging everyone at the table in a story about their grandchildren. No fuss, no attention drawn, just quiet protection of her dignity. You see, true love shows itself in these delicate moments. A man who deeply loves you understands that dignity isn't just about the big things. It's about those small, vulnerable moments that come more frequently as we age. He finds ways to help without making you feel helpless, to support without making you feel dependent. This protection of dignity shows up in countless ways. It's in how he never corrects your stories in front of others, even if you mix up some details. It's in how he handles disagreements privately, never diminishing your worth in public. When you're having a difficult day with memory or mobility, he becomes your silent guardian, smoothing the way without drawing attention to your challenges. What touches me most is seeing how this protection extends to every aspect of life. In medical appointments, He ensures your voice is heard without speaking over you. At family gatherings, he creates space for you to share your wisdom while gently steering conversations away from sensitive topics that might cause discomfort. This kind of love doesn't just protect, it elevates. It recognizes that maintaining dignity is crucial to maintaining spirit, especially as we face the changes that come with aging. A man who truly loves you sees your dignity not as something fragile to be preserved, but as something precious to be honored. This brings us to another essential aspect of deep love, how he makes time for you, proving that in the autumn of our lives, moments together become more precious than ever. 11. He makes time for you. In our golden years, time becomes our most precious commodity. What I've learned through decades of observation is that a man who truly loves you doesn't just spend time with you. He makes time for you, and there's a world of difference between the two. Consider my friends Richard and Dorothy. Despite Richard's ongoing battle with arthritis, he still gets up 30 minutes early every morning to share a quiet cup of coffee with Dorothy before the day begins. These morning moments, he told me once, are what I look forward to most. It's not about the coffee. It's about choosing to create sacred time together even after 49 years of marriage. You see, at our age, making time takes on a different meaning. It's not about elaborate date nights or long vacations anymore. It's about those intentional daily moments that say, "You're still my priority." Maybe it's a shared crossword puzzle in the afternoon or a slow walk around the neighborhood when the weather permits. These aren't just activities. They're expressions of love through the gift of presence. What truly matters is the quality of this time together. A man who deeply loves you isn't just physically present. He's emotionally present too. When he sits with you, his attention isn't on the television or his phone. He's fully there, engaged in conversation, or simply sharing comfortable silence. He understands that at this stage of life, every moment together is precious. I've noticed how the best relationships have these little rituals of togetherness. Perhaps it's watching the sunset from your favorite chairs, or reading different sections of the newspaper and sharing interesting bits with each other. These might seem like small things to others, but they're the threads that weave a tapestry of lasting love. Even when health issues or other obligations demand attention, a loving partner finds ways to stay connected. Maybe he can't do everything he used to, but he makes sure you know you're still a priority in his life. He might adjust his schedule for your doctor's appointments or plan his day around the times when you need him most. This brings us to our final and perhaps most profound sign of true love, how he chooses you not just once, but every single day. 12. He chooses you every day. Let me share something profound I've learned after witnessing countless relationships over the years. True love isn't just about the choice made at the altar decades ago. It's about the quiet, deliberate choice made every single morning to love, honor, and cherish one another. I think of Albert and Rose, married for 56 years. Last week, Rose was having one of her difficult days with memory. Albert sat beside her at our community breakfast, gently reminding her which medications to take with her meal. Someone asked him if it was hard doing this every day. His response brought tears to my eyes. "I choose her every morning when I wake up, just as I did the day I married her. Some days are harder than others, but the choice is always the same." You see, love at our age isn't about passion or convenience anymore. It's about the conscious decision to stand together through whatever challenges each day brings. A man who truly loves you demonstrates this choice in countless small ways. How he starts each day with a gentle good morning, how he checks if you're warm enough, how he still tries to make you smile even on your hardest days. What's particularly beautiful about this daily choice is how it deepens with time. Every wrinkle, every gray hair, every new challenge becomes part of the story he chooses to continue writing with you. He doesn't love you despite the changes that come with age. He loves you with them, through them, because of them. This kind of love shows itself in moments of both strength and vulnerability. When health issues arise, he chooses to be your advocate. When memories fade, he chooses to be your memory keeper. When days are bright, he chooses to share in your joy. Each choice, each day, is a renewal of his commitment to your shared journey. True love at this stage of life isn't about grand romantic gestures or passionate declarations. It's about the man who still reaches for your hand first thing in the morning and last thing at night. It's about the one who knows all your stories but still listens to them like they're new. It's about daily choices that say, I'm still here, I still choose you, I always will. My dear friends, after sharing these 12 signs of true love, here's what I want you to remember. Real love isn't found in grand gestures or perfect moments. It lives in the quiet morning coffee rituals, the gentle squeeze of a hand during doctor's visits, and the silent understanding that comes with years of sharing life together. If you see these signs in your relationship, cherish them. They're the building blocks of a love that grows stronger with each passing year. If you're still searching, know that this kind of deep, enduring love exists, not in fairy tales, but in everyday moments of care and commitment. Remember, love at our age is like a well-worn path, familiar, comfortable, and more precious with each step taken together. Share your own love stories in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more wisdom about love and life. Until next time, keep choosing love every single day.